Okay, good evening. I'm continuing video lecture number three, my discussion of Plato's Allegory of the Cave and that Sheila Gibson reading. So basically, the prisoners, when they talk and the guards talk, all they hear are just echoes in the cave because, when they're just talking in the cave, they just hear incomprehensible echoes. So imagine life in that cave. Do you really think that's a really great life? We have prisoners growing up and all they know is just themselves and guards and just a dark cave illuminated by a fireplace. Obviously that life is really going to be one of ignorance and basically drudgery. But one day, one of the prisoners was able to get away from the cave. She was released from the cave and she went up to out in the real world. So basically she went out in the sunlight of the real world and she basically saw the whole sunlight of the world out there. And then she thought, hey, what would happen? Of course, she was very uncomfortable in that cave. So she thought, hey, what would actually happen if I went out in the real world? She went out in the real world, and then she stayed there for a while. But then one day she wanted to go back to the cave. Why did she want to go back to the cave? Why do you think she wanted to go back to the cave? The real world was better. She learned a lot. But why did she want to go back to the cave? Well, the reason was she wanted to go back to her fellow prisoners and her friends to kind of bring them out of ignorance, bring them out, into the real world from the ignorance of the cave out in the real world. And think about it. Are we in ignorance? Are we prisoners of the cave in our lives too? Maybe at certain times, maybe our parents may be prisoners in a cave. But maybe we may be prisoners at one time. And our parents may be one who actually educate us. Or maybe there may be a time where we're educating our parents. So think about that. Think about the allegory of the cave in terms of education. Like, is our job out there when we get education to basically lead others out of ignorance and basically for others to lead us out of ignorance? So go ahead and think about that. She brings up that about the allegory of the cave. And finally, she talks about service to the wide world, helping others. What does it mean to have service to the outside world? She thinks it's very important in terms of that spark. That spark really kind of helps yourself because it kind of nourishes self like a fireplace. However, the nature of